I'm going to go ahead and admit that this question made me think for a good 5 minutes. And it wasn't until I set up some algebraic equations that I got happy with my answer. So here we go. I wanted to know what each of these angles, alpha, beta, and tau, were. And I calling them that letters because the angle notation got a little bit crazy after a while. So I'm going through the bisector statements from the question, and I'm coming up with this is the bisector of the biggest angle, AOF. That means these top two angles, 30 plus alpha, have to be equal to the bottom three, 40 plus tau plus beta, because this bisects the whole thing. The second equation comes from the fact that OC bisects AOE, which means these two have to equal these two. 40 plus tau has to equal alpha plus beta. Finally, this angle here, OB, that's the simplest one, it bisects AOC. That means that this half, 40, has to equal this half tau. Just means tau is 40. Well, let's start with the easiest equation first. If you take tau as 40 and rewrite these other two equations, you're going to get 40 plus beta for the first one. That is, of course, going to be alpha minus beta is equal to 50. That's the first equation. And the second equation, 40 plus tau, which is 40 more, that's equal to alpha plus beta, right? So I'm going to rewrite that as alpha plus beta is equal to 80. Now if you add these two things together, alpha plus and minus a beta is equal to I'm sorry, I want to add it together. I get 2 alpha. So you add these two guys together, you're going to get 130. So this alpha is going to be half of that, which is 65. So we're going to say this is 65, right? Once we know that it's 65, that means beta has to be 15. And now we're going to go back and make sure all of our statements are true. These three together is 95. That's equal to 95. These two together are 80. These two together are 80. I'm happy with all of my answers. Alpha 65, beta is equal to 15, and of course they already told me tau is 40. So what am I looking for? Well, this question wants to know what is BOE. So starting here, going to here, we want to know what all these are together. And if I add them all up, I get 120. Very difficult question. I think it's probably the hardest one of this test.